Penn State, Michigan State preview. Penn State's going to be coming off a tough loss as well as Michigan State with the triple overtime loss to Northwestern. Both teams have one conference loss. This game's in East Lansing. The line's about in favor of Penn State by about 9 right now. It's been fluctuating pretty good. Um, Over under, it's about 48, I think. For me, looking at this game, there's a couple ways. I'm not 100% sure with my read. It kind of looks like Michigan State doesn't really put up a ton of points, but they don't allow a lot of points. Um, they got a decent quarterback. He's still young. This team's kind of inexperienced. I think a little bit. They're still coming up. I think Penn State's more of an experienced team, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's a few ways I look at this. Michigan State's got a good quarterback. Running game they haven't really been able to establish. Defense is pretty good. Passing defense isn't that great, but rushing defense is very good. And if they can I mean, there's part of me that says, you know what, this could be a loss. This might be, this is a big game because if Penn State can win this, I think they got a great shot at winning out. And if they lose, maybe they can still win out, but they'll probably be 10-2, which wouldn't be a bad year, but they can kiss the playoff goodbye pretty much unless all hell breaks loose. So there's part of me that does say, Michigan State's able to, kind of shut Barkley down, get some pressure on McSorley. McSorley makes some passes, but it's not quite very smooth. Michigan State, Lewerke, not that accurate, overthrows some guys. Michigan State has some decent receivers, not great though. No big name receivers, but they're able to move the ball decent. Penn State's secondary is good, but it can get exposed. Like Penn State's defense was a little overrated because it came in, it really hadn't played anybody, and then it plays Ohio State, who can really move the ball on them, and they exposed them. But back to what I was saying, Michigan State able to move the ball decent. They're able to maybe run it decent, not great, has some trouble, but they're able to keep the pressure under a minimum, and they're maybe able to squeeze out like a 27-24 or like a 27-20 kind of game. But then there's part of me that just says, Michigan State's good, but I haven't quite seen enough. They've barely beat some teams that aren't really that great, and teams that Penn State's beat pretty good. I mean, they lost to Northwestern. Penn State beat Northwestern bad. They struggled with Indiana. Penn State killed Indiana. So I mean, if that kind of things happens, I mean, I could see this game. If Michigan State isn't able to put up a ton of points, Penn State's able to shut down L.J. Scott pretty good and is able to get some pressure. Lewerke isn't really able to complete a ton of passes. Bad completion percentage, maybe makes a mistake here or there. They're not able to put up a ton of points. And then, Penn State can kind of have Michigan State back off by passing a little bit. Maybe Barkley has a cut like one or two big plays. Other than that, maybe not a big game out of him. I can't really see a big game, but McSorley's able to, hit Barkley as a receiver. Barkley might be able to get one big play, and McSorley's able to make some plays with his feet and be able to hit his receivers on, some simple, 15, 10, 20-yard routes that are, like slants or something like that, and maybe a big play over top. In that case, I could see maybe like a 34-10 game. But it is hard to get a read on this game because it really depends what really happens with Penn State mentally. I think they're going to be okay. And same thing with Michigan State, too. I mean, both teams still have a chance at the Big Ten Championship, but they really need a lot to go right. They're not making the Big Ten Championship. Neither team will. But it's still mathematically possible, especially for Michigan State. Um, so, overall, I see this is what I really see. I think Penn State, talent wise, has a mismatch here. I think talent wise, they're a little bit better, they're a little more experienced, and I think that should be able to get them the win. But if Michigan State can kind of offset that with some things, they can make this a game and they can pull off an upset. Overall, I think this game's going to be closer than the Michigan game, but it's still not going to be real close. I think it will be, but I don't think Michigan State is a team that if you can get them down, they can pass their way back into the game. But I don't think against this kind of defense that I don't know if they're going to be able to do the same thing Ohio State was able to do. So I think if Penn State can get them down like 14 in the second half, I think the game might be over. Well, I mean, especially at the fourth, like with like 6 minutes left, I can't really see that happening. Um, so I think Michigan State will be able to get some passing yards with Lewarke. I think they're going to keep L.J. Scott to a minimum. I think they're going to be able to get some pressure. Maybe he makes a mistake here or there. I think McSorley is able to make some passes against an secondary. I think Barkley's going to struggle to get some yards, especially with the O-line. I think McSorley won't be under quite as much pressure as last week, but I think he's still going to have to get out of the pocket and make some plays. I think he will be able to make some plays with the run. I think he's going to make some plays with the air. Overall, I see this game Penn State 31, Michigan 20, and a close one, but not real close. So that's a wrap for this one. Let's get to 8-1, boys. Peace out.